Welcome to Milwaukee, the final home game of the season for the Brewers as they take on the St. Louis Cardinals, who are headed for the postseason officially as of today. This is Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. The Cardinals found out today, Mike Matheny's birthday incidentally, that they have clinched a playoff spot. That happened with a Washington loss earlier today, but they have some bigger things on their minds than just a playoff spot. They want to win that National League Central, so they're interested in the goings-on between the Reds and the Pirates earlier today. Cincinnati erupting with a very big first inning, a bases-clearing double by Jay Bruce, and then the next batter, Todd Frazier, steps up and deposits one over the wall in left field for a two-run homer. The Reds go on to roll over the Pirates 11-3, taking 2 out of 3 in that series, and that means at the moment the Reds and Pirates are both 2.5 back of the Cardinals in this heated race to see who wins the division, and in all likelihood which two the other two are the wild card teams in the NL. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman, John Kruk, Oral Hershiser, and a welcome to Milwaukee. The St. Louis Cardinals, a great story again this year, finding ways to fill in the gaps, move people around, do whatever they have to do, and there's no better story, really, than Matt Carpenter.
Dan, he's a great story, and he fills in 2 positions. He played second base this year when he was normal third baseman, and batting leadoff. After 3 weeks in the season, he took over. He's leading the National League in hits. The coaching staff says what they love about him, though, is the fact that he grinds out at bats. He lets the other hitters see pretty much every pitch that the starting pitcher has that day in his first at-bat, and he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. That's huge when you're a leadoff hitter.
And another relatively inexperienced player is a guy we're going to see on the mound tonight. Joe Kelly was in the bullpen. They needed him because of injury in the rotation. He's done a great job.
He was very frustrated in the bullpen, felt like he could really contribute to this team, and he has contributed in a big way. One a very dominant starting pitcher since July 6th. And you know what? In his 14 starts with the Cardinals, they've won 11. And if the Cardinals are going to go deep into the postseason and their October dreams come true, Joe Kelly has to be a major factor.
The St. Louis Cardinals looking to inch a step closer toward a National League Central division title if they can pick up a win tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. Some of the competitors that we'll see in the sausage race a little bit later on tonight here in Milwaukee, getting an early start on their evening, taking some pictures with folks outside of Miller Park. Final home game of the season for the Brewers as they take on a division rival, the St. Louis Cardinals. Mike Matheny celebrating his 43rd birthday today, and also celebrating the fact that the Cardinals are headed to the postseason again. They clinched at least a wild card berth today, but as mentioned earlier, they're hoping to win that NL Central. Here's the Cardinal lineup, presented by Taco Bell. As Crucky told you off the top, what a sensational season for Matt Carpenter so far, leading the majors in hits, doubles, and runs. And Matt Adams, who's filling in for the injured Alan Craig, getting regular playing time, just tearing the cover off the ball against the Brewers and is hitting great since Craig went down with a sprained foot. By the way, Matt Holliday, a late scratch today with the back spasms. That's why Shane Robinson is in the lineup. On the mound tonight for Milwaukee, Oral, a guy with a very live arm in a Willie Peralta.
A big arm at 24 years old. Milwaukee hopes that he can be a bright part of their future. Willie's learning to really master the off-speed stuff. About 91% of the time, it'll be a fastball or a slider. He's got to learn to take a little bit more off the pitch to keep the hitters off balance.
Roof is closed here at Miller Park as we are getting ready for baseball. Ted Barrett, the crew chief, is the home plate umpire. Mike DeMuro at first, Scott Berry at second, and Alfonso Marquez at third. Stepping in is Carpenter, who has made himself into an MVP candidate with the kind of year that he's having. A guy who, as Crucky said, has become a second baseman, a leadoff hitter, 54 doubles on the year, 121 runs scored, and one of the big topics of conversation locally in St. Louis is who has meant more to the Cardinals this year, Yadier Molina or Matt Carpenter.
That's one, thank goodness we don't have to answer with MVP votes.
Molina missed some time with an injury, was on the DL for a couple of weeks, but the best defensive catcher in the game, also one of the leading hitters in the National League right now at .315. Carpenter's up there at .322.
Molina will get a lot of votes because of intangibles, what he does with the pitching staff. Carpenter with the stats that are a little stronger.
Former 13th round draft pick out of TCU by the Cardinals back in 2009. Got his first real taste of the big leagues last year. Got just under 300 at bats. An everyday player this year and has put up sensational numbers. Takes the pitch outside, a full count.
Well, this is what Jose Oquendo, third base coach, was telling me about Carpenter. He doesn't change his approach no matter how many strikes he has on him. Here's another. Perfect for a leadoff hitter. You work a 3-2 count. You've seen everything Peralta's got.
And the at-bat will continue. He's not a speed guy, but he's got a very good on-base percentage. He'll draw some walks, but a lot of it is just how high his batting average is. They were really searching for a leadoff hitter. John Jay was up there early in the season, but was struggling a little bit. And Mike Matheny said they got to have somebody with a good on-base percentage ahead of all the thumpers. And they certainly have some thumpers in this line. And another pitch coming.
And you see he is a grinder up there with a very short swing, and so spoiling those 3-2 pitches. He's late, and it's not late because he's a bad hitter. He's late because he's a good hitter, and he's reading that pitch, ball or strike.
Some of the best numbers of any leadoff hitter in baseball. No swing on the appeal. It's ball 4, and Carpenter draws the walk.
Fastball high and away, but look how long he waits before he disengages. It was swing, 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 take, and he got it right.
So the leadoff man aboard for the Cardinals, and here's John Jay, the center fielder. Jay batting .268 on the season. The Cardinals, even with Alan Craig out of the lineup and some trouble in the 9th inning that we'll get into a little bit later on. Edward Mojica, who's had a great year, has struggled in recent weeks. They are still a season high 27 games over 500, 91 and 64. And while they're not assured of anything yet, and that's the way Mike Matheny plays it when you talk to him, 2.5 up on both Pittsburgh and Cincinnati with a week to go. They're in pretty good shape. And obviously all three of those teams want to do anything they can to avoid the one-game playoff, just to assure themselves of at least a spot in a division series. It's a screamer over the third base dugout. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, who just wrapped up a series today in Pittsburgh. Incidentally, they will finish the season with a 3-game series against one another in Cincinnati, and then they could roll right into a wild card playoff against each other 2 days later. All three of these teams obviously intimately aware of one another's strengths and weaknesses. They play 19 times per season. 0-2 to Jay. It's been an incredibly close race. The Cardinals guys at no point this year have ever been more than 4 games up or 4 games out on any day all season.
Just tells you how consistent they are with their everyday players and now with their pitching staff. And Mojica got hot. He starts to struggle. They just throw someone else in there to try to close games out.
And a swing and a miss to get Jay for the first out of the ball game.
John Jay has really cut down on his hitch. See how he keeps his hands up here, and Peralta just kind of jams him with this hard slider inside. Just disappears under the swing.
Normally Jay would be hitting down in the lineup, but when Holiday was scratched, that created a number of changes. Beltran moving from 2 to 3, and 4 or 5 guys moved around, and Jay went from being in the 6th spot up to the 2 spot. So here's Beltran hitting 3rd. And the game-winning sacrifice fly in the 10th inning Friday night in the opening game of this series. And he grounds one down to first. There's one, and back to the bag in time. Peralta covering for the 3-6-1 inning-ending double play. By Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas. And in part by iShares by BlackRock. Visit iShares.com to learn more. The new 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And Las Vegas in theaters November 1st, rated PG-13. Bernie Brewer hoping for a busy evening. If the Brewers can hit some home runs and he can give that slide a workout, he's going to give it an early workout right here in the bottom of the 1st. With our cameraman Duke heading right down the slide behind him. Nice work, Bernie. Better work, Duke. Duke, are you there? There he is. Let's go down to Buster Olney.
Dan, just like in 2006 and in 2011, the Cardinals will go into the postseason with an uncertain closer situation. That's because manager Mike Matheny told closer Edward Mujica that he's going to have a few days off, and for the foreseeable future, he's going to go with matchups, and that might mean going with Kevin Segrist, maybe with Trevor Rosenthal, maybe with John Axford, the reliever they acquired from the St. Louis Cardinals. They really liked what they've seen in him. You know, by the way, in 2006 and 2011, Cardinals won the World Series, Dan.
Highly unusual, of course, for a team of this caliber at this point of the season to be dealing with this kind of an issue. More on that as we work our way through the evening. Ron Arenike, the 3rd season as manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. Of course, they went to the NLCS back in 2011 where they lost to the Cardinals. The Milwaukee starting lineup tonight are brought to you by Taco Bell. Carlos Gomez having his best season as a big leaguer. He's got a career-high 21 homers. He's got 36 steals, 5th in the National League. But this is a team that's been beaten up by injuries and, of course, the Ryan Braun suspension this year. So they are a depleted bunch. One of the big reasons why the Brewers have had such a disappointing season, 68 and 86. Norichika Aoki, the right fielder, leads it off for Milwaukee. And right-hander Joe Kelly is on the mound all for the St. Louis Cardinals.
25-year-old, only his 31st big league start. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but he has been outstanding since he moved into the rotation.
And a ground ball base hit up the middle for Aoki.
Joe Kelly was very frustrated when he was the long man. He lost the battle in spring training to Shelby Miller for the 5th spot in the rotation. Knew he could contribute, but he's not only contributed, he's dominated. Look at that ERA compared to the other guys since July 6th when he entered the rotation. 2.18. Fernandez, Greinke, Kershaw, possible Cy Young Award winner, only one better.
And Kelly pitched in the postseason for the Cardinals last year in relief and did a very good job. He's a confident young guy, and he's going to be an important pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals going into the postseason. They've got 3 young pitchers in their starting rotation right now with Kelly, Miller, and Michael Wacha. So Mike Matheny is going to be leaning on some young arms. Swing and a miss by Scooter Gennett, the second baseman for Milwaukee, who has been playing regularly for about 6-7 weeks now for the injured Ricky Weeks. And Gennett, a guy who's opened some eyes. As Ron Arenike says, he can hit, and don't let his size fool you. He's got some pop. About 5'10", 180, but Arenike says you watch him in BP, and you can see him launching them.
This is one of the things too. If you know the Milwaukee Brewers, if you're in this farm system, you're never happy when the big league club struggles, but when you get a chance, now you have a chance to prove to this front office, to Doug Melvin and Ron Arenike and the whole coaching staff, you know what, I can play here. I do belong here. Give me a chance next year, and I'll show you more of what I can do. But these guys are auditioning right now, Oral, some of these guys for everyday positions for next season.
Breaking ball down and in. And it's a ball and 2 strikes now on Gennett. Yadier Molina, in spite of missing a couple of weeks on the DL with a knee problem earlier this season, he's also had a bit of a nagging wrist injury. He still has played a ton. And the Cardinals There are a lot of other things going on, obviously, but in the 31 games he hasn't started, the Cardinals are 14-17. They're 3 games under. They're 30 games over in the games that he has started this year.
That record alone will get you some MVP votes.
And a big swing and a miss at a breaking ball in the dirt to get Jeanette.
It's a sharp breaking ball. When you throw 95, it forces the hitter to start a little early, and that's what happens right here. You make the hitter look bad, but that little spike curveball with good bite after a hard fastball gets you out front.
Oh, that too is also youth. Yeah, a young hitter, aggressive hitter like Jeanette. You can bounce a couple to them, they're going to swing at him. And Joe Kelly and for sure Yadier Molina was the one who convinced him, let's bounce one and see what he does with it.
So 1 on, 1 out. No score here in the bottom of the first. And the batter is Jonathan Lucroy, who is the regular catcher for the Brewers, but getting a start at first base in tonight's game. Martina Maldonado, the personal catcher for Willie Peralta. Lucroy doesn't get the attention he deserves. Quietly one of the most productive catchers in baseball, making his 8th start of the season at first. And guys, he started a nice 3-6-1 double play in the top half.
Yeah, he got rid of it quick and made a good hard throw to the shortstop Bianchi, right? And that's what you have to do. If you lob it, you don't turn it.
This offense without Ryan Braun for 65 games because of the suspension. Corey Hart never played for the Brewers this year. 2 knee surgeries. Aramis Ramirez was on the DL twice, missed a total of 54 games. And on it goes. The offense here generally is pretty good, but the injuries have really taken their toll this year. And it's a pretty good ballpark to hit in most times too. If you're not dealing with those summer shadows, day games when the roof is open. You guys were pointing this out. There are no numbers, no measurements in the power alleys. Almost, I think every other ballpark has down the lines, power alleys, and straightaway center field. There's nothing in the power alleys here. Is that because it's so close they don't want to say what it is?
I think those lines come in a hurry, and that's not a big arc out there. There's not a lot of room for mistakes in the middle of the field.
It kind of angles in instead of arcing around from center field to the power alley. Sharply hit ball off the glove of Freese down the left field line. Aoki on his way to third. Throw headed to second, and in there safely is Lucroy.
Well, Kelly tries to throw that breaking ball. He wanted to get it down and away, but he got it down center. Not a bad pitch, but Lucroy, like you said, Dan, he's one of the best offensive hitting catchers in baseball. And he just gets one down the line. Dress back David Freese. Tried to knock it down. It gets past him, and that's what slowed it up enough for Lucroy to get to second base.
So the Brewers threatening early. Here's their cleanup hitter, Aramis Ramirez. And he has always been known as a good RBI guy, and he delivers here. Base hit to left field to drive in a run. Lucroy stops at third, and Milwaukee on top, 1-0.
There's no doubts about this man knowing how to drive in a run. He's been a run producer pretty much his entire career, starting when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, you just look at the pitch. It's down and in. He gets to it quick with the barrel, and look at that firm front side he hits off on. Drives it through that left side of the infield, and Lucroy, of course, had to hold up to make sure it went through. Now you got another first and third situation here, and a chance for the Brewers to put another one on the board.
With Carlos Gomez at the plate, their talented center fielder. As we mentioned earlier, Gomez having probably his best season in the big leagues. Now, he was much better in the first half. He had a slump in August at just 197 in August, with the 21 homers, a career high. And Ron Renicky says, yes, he is getting better. There's so much talent here. You always want more. And there are still times, guys, where he tries to do too much. And this may be one of those situations. Instead of just trying to hit a fly ball, drive home a run, you try to hit one 9 miles.
And you come out of your swing there on an 0-1 pitch. That ball's down by the ankles. He almost started his swing when Kelly let go of the ball. You'll hear us talk about it tonight when the Cardinals get runners in scoring position, how they use the opposite field or the middle of the field, and they all seem to stay within themselves and give you a professional at bat. Renicky looking for more of that from Gomez.
Back to the mound. Kelly has to double clutch, and that will cost them as a run scores.
This is a double play ball, but he forgets who has it. You just have to throw to the bag. And as hard as it was hit, you could take your time a little bit on the mound, but that adrenaline rush of catching the ball and wanting to get out of the jam got his rhythm off with his middle infielders. He knows it. He's a center fielder in his youth, an outstanding athlete.
Fielder's choice, RBI Gomez. Brewers 2, Cardinals nothing. Bottom of the first, and the batter is the left fielder Logan Schaefer. Gomez, of course, a threat to go.
He looked at every base first before the light one. He turns to second immediately. They might have the double play with even with Gomez's speed.
Runner going, pitch out. Throw down by Molina is not in time.
Well, after he threw over once, Gomez was going on the first move by Kelly. He had that high leg kick, but it looked like Yadier right there had trouble getting the ball out of his glove for that split second. That allows Gomez to get in. You see how frustrated he was. He spiked his helmet after the throw.
Runner in scoring position. 1-0 the count on Schaefer. Jay started back, comes in, makes the catch to end the inning, but it's a productive inning over to Miller Park as the Brewers pick up a couple, much to the delight of one of baseball's most famous mascots, Bernie Brewer. Lead off the second inning. St. Louis down 2-0 in the early going here tonight, and Matt Adams has had a very good series so far. And Matt Adams, guys, hits big boy home runs. He hits them a long way, and what a weapon for Mike Matheny to have at his disposal. Earlier in the season, the problem was how many at-bats can they get him? How often can they get him into the lineup? Now they've got the luxury of having him available to play first with Alan Craig out with a sprained foot, and you really don't get the feeling when you talk to the Cardinals like Alan Craig is anywhere close. They're saying they hope to get him back before the end of the regular season. But he's got a boot on his foot. He's not doing a whole lot of baseball activity right now. And Craig is one of the most productive hitters in the majors, the leading hitter in the majors with runners in scoring position.
Well, and just think if Alan Craig can come back for the postseason, what a weapon they have off the bench with Matt Adams. And, you know, he's a difference maker in the game as far as how a manager has to manage against the St. Louis Cardinals with him and that power sitting there waiting to come in at any opportune time.
Fastball there at 96, and the count is 1-2 on Adams. Adams is playing with a sore right elbow. You can see the brace that he's got on there. Came out of the game Wednesday, missed a game Thursday, got back in there Friday and Saturday and homered in both of them. Not here. Meanwhile, Alan Craig suffering a sprained foot on September the 4th. Watch him as he rounds first base right there and collided or attempted to avoid actually colliding with Las Diaz, and when he put the brakes on, it looked like a rolled ankle, but it's actually a sprained left foot. And there aren't that many days between now and October, and it doesn't sound like Craig is that close right now. And here's what you lose when you lose Alan Craig.
It really was their best hitter, not just their most productive hitter in the middle lineup with runners in scoring position.
But is there a team better than the Cardinals in recent years? When you lose somebody, you find somebody else to fill in. If a guy's not working out at a certain position, you've got a replacement who can step in and do the job. It seems like they do this every single year, multiple times. One and two on Yadier Molina.
And I think it's amazing. They don't go outside of their organization to replace guys that get injured. They just, here we go, we got someone. Matt Adams, throw him in there, let's see what he can do. It's astounding what they have that others don't.
It goes all the way back to 2006 when Adam Wainwright, as a rookie, got forced into the closer's role. Jason Isringhausen was hurting, so Wainwright took over. Jason Mott becoming the closer a couple of years ago. Edward Mujica becoming the closer this year. Even a guy like Craig himself 2 years ago when he came up played all kinds of different positions and became one of their best hitters right away.
And you tip your cap to the player development people, because when you study the depth of their organization, it's not a bunch of first to fifth round draft picks that took a long time to develop and all of a sudden they have a backlog of people. It's people that were drafted from the 15th round on, the 22nd round. Guys that have been developed and weren't really on the radar of other organizations early on, especially at the draft.
Well, as an example, we mentioned Matt Carpenter. He's a 13th round pick. Trevor Rosenthal, who throws 99 miles an hour, a 21st round pick.
How does that go? How does 99 go undrafted to the 22nd round?
Now, he was just developing as a pitcher. He was a third baseman, shortstop, was raw as a pitcher, was just transitioning into a pitcher. But boy, the Cardinals have managed to unearth more guys late in the draft, it seems, than just about any other team in recent years. And each year their farm system seems to produce 3 or 4 real quality players who have big roles. There's ball 4 to Molina. I mean, Segrist was a 41st round pick. He's got unbelievable numbers as a left-handed reliever this year. Matt Adams, another example.
41st round for a lefty that throws in the mid to high 90s. That makes sense.
So that means over 1,200 guys got drafted ahead of him just that year.
Yeah.
There's John Mozela.
Must have walked a guy in a crucial situation. Someone labeled him he can't pitch in a tight game.
Whoa.
That got away.
Peralta sails one all the way to the backstop, and an extremely wild pitch will send Molina up to second, and Peralta is erratic to say the least here in the early going.
This ball gets out of his hand early, and real early to be that high. That's above the head. Wow. Even your personal catcher doesn't know it's going to go there.
So they'll have a little meeting on the mound to try to sort it out, and we'll go down to Buster.
Guys, you were talking about the Cardinals taking advantage of talent in the later rounds. Trevor Rosenthal, who was selected in 21st round, told me the story about how he was drafted. A Cardinals scout saw him pitch one time. He actually was a shortstop in community college, and based on that one outing, the Cardinals took a shot at him. I think it worked out pretty well.
And they just keep replenishing the system year after year. Here's David Freese, a swing and a miss.
I didn't see the board. Was that a wild pitch or a pass ball?
I think the bigger shocker is you're scoring.
Well, it's only the second.
Yeah. The night is young. Boy, Oral 97 and some movement too, some sink.
It's a very live arm, and what they're really working on with this young man is being able to control his emotions and his focus. Early in the season, Ron Renicky telling us that innings would kind of spiral out of control with him.
So 2 walks, a wild pitch, and a hit batter already in this game.
Willie Peralta's got a chance now to show that he's been learning his lesson about emotions and keeping things from spiraling out of control. Definitely doesn't have his rhythm or his release point right now, and he's going to have to find it in a hurry, or this Cardinal lineup that is just a continuous circle of good at bats.
There's just nowhere to go.
And Molina saying, man, that's smarts.
Yeah, that ball was 95 and running, chasing him. He couldn't back up. He couldn't move forward. Couldn't duck. That was just going to hit him. He just have to figure out where.
You wear it.
Daniel Descalso, the shortstop, has been getting more and more playing time. This is his 8th consecutive start at short in the place of Pete Kozma, who had been pretty much the regular shortstop for most of the season, but Descalso has taken over. And Descalso, another one of the many Cardinals with great numbers with runners in scoring position. He's at .353 on the season.
120 points higher than his
I was
batting
just thinking
average.
the same thing.
That's amazing.
We can track batting average with runners in scoring position to back 50 years. The highest ever, the Rockies at .311 in 1996. The Cardinals are at .329 on the season. And 5 of the top 6 hitters in the National League with runners in scoring position are St. Louis Cardinals. Freddie Freeman, the only non-Cardinal in that group. Well struck ball, but Gomez tracks it down for out number 2. What is it, guys, that you guys think allow the Cardinal hitters, as good as they are, to be that much better with runners in scoring position?
Their ability to go the other way, and they let the ball get deep. They're not afraid to get jammed. When we talked to Ron Renicky today, it was almost like he was in awe and envious at the same time of what the St. Louis Cardinals do. He said, look, they don't hit home runs, or not a ton of home runs, but he said they'll let the ball get deep. They'll hit a blooper, and everyone thinks, oh, they got luck. He said that's not luck. He said that's the way they approach hitting with runners in scoring position.
You know you're good at something when the opposing manager just openly admires what the team is doing. That's the way Ron Renicky was when he was talking about the Cardinals.
Last week we had a game with the Boston Red Sox, and everybody admires the way they grind out and work the count, not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, and they do it as a unit and they police themselves. And I think the Cardinals are the same way with hitting with runners in scoring position. They police themselves, and they have a theory, and they stick with it.
0-2 the count on Shane Robinson, a late add into the lineup for Matt Holliday, who was scratched about a half hour before the game with the back spasms. Holliday's been on a tear lately. He's been crushing the ball in the last week or so.
And I think it tells you how determined this team is not to just get in the playoffs, but to win the division and hopefully for them have the best record in the National League so they can have home field advantage. There you go.
Leaping catch at first by Lucroy to end the inning. Second good play that he's made defensively already tonight. Their Gold Glove, acknowledged as the best catcher in the game, and a guy who's getting so much credit this year for all the work that he's done with all the talented young pitchers on the Cardinal staff, who will tell us themselves how they feel about Molina.
He's been a huge help and influence on me, not just me, but a lot of our pitchers.
He's really helped us to kind of keep us grounded, and also gives us a lot of confidence.
No, we're not out there thinking too much and just trying to make the pitches that he calls.
I think I've shaken off one time this year, and last year I didn't shake him off any times.
It's huge back there because it saves a lot of runs, and he throws people out, and he's just all around an amazing player.
Oral, it's not the kind of thing you can quantify. You can't put a number on what he means. But when you came up as a young pitcher, what did it mean to you, whether it was Mike Scioscia or somebody else, a catcher who worked with you? How does that help you?
I had Steve Yeager, Mike Scioscia, and when they have confidence in what they're calling, you have confidence in them that they're calling the right pitch. It just frees you up mentally to just let your potential just flow. And then in those tough situations, that's when you even need them more, when they can just say, you know what, you can get out of this. Let's just do this. Follow me. Bear down. It's great to follow. And you finally start learning what they know.
Ground ball up the middle, sliding stop, skips it across the infield as Daniel Descalso to get Jeff Bianchi by a step. A very good play by Descalso, ranging to his left.
You mentioned Kozma was the shortstop. Descalso's taken over for him. It's just a great play, but look how quick he gets up, and I love this bounce throw over to first base because it's a long enough hop, but it seems to get there quicker, and it gives the first baseman on the bounce enough time to stretch. You can really stretch out on that ball. You don't have to worry about a high throw if you're bouncing it over.
And by the way, Matt Adams, I mean, he's a big guy, 260 pounds, but Mike Matheny was asked before the game, you know, is his defense okay? And Matheny said for him, it's better than okay. That don't let the size of Adams predetermine what his defense is like. He's very happy with the defense Adams has provided over there. With all their other strengths, the Cardinals have also committed the fewest errors in the National League, just 70 on the season. Right at the knees, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
25-year-old with only 31 starts, this being his 31st. If he perfects that pitch, he has a very bright future. Look like Pedro Martinez painting out there.
Another well-located pitch, but Freese cannot make the throw, and Maldonado is safe.
David Freese already shaking his head tonight with the ball that got down the line on him. The step and the dive he thought he should have, and this one is really routine at the big league level. Just too much time to think about it and can't get it out of his glove, and all of a sudden had to rush the exchange after he didn't get it the first time. And he just never gets the handle.
We just mentioned they have committed the fewest errors in the National League. That is the 71st error committed by the Cardinals this year. Up steps the pitcher, Peralta. He gets the bunt down back to Kelly. Look at second. Lob it over to first. Sacrifice will move Maldonado to second, 2 down. Miller Park, the home of the Brewers. Disappointing year for them, as mentioned, with the injuries, the Ryan Braun suspension. The attendance is down this year, although they still have drawn pretty well in a market of this size for a team that has struggled like this. A lot of that, of course, is based on the foundation of the success they've had in recent years. About $2.5 million this year. A lot of teams with better records than this group would love to draw $2.5 million. But so much has changed. You know, Prince Fielder gone. Ryan Braun's whole situation, Zach Greinke gone. The 2011 National League Championship Series seems like longer than 2 years ago, doesn't it? Ryan Braun was back in the city to see his teammates earlier this week. As Aoki spanks the ball over the head of Robinson and all the way to the fence. Maldonado in to score, and it's 3-0 Milwaukee.
Well, the error David Freese makes hurts him, but Joe Kelly said this is a mistake and he didn't pick his teammate up. While he's trying to come inside, it leaks all the way across the plate. Lets Aoki just get the barrel of the bat on it and drive it over a drawn-in left field. Make quality pitches, they garden for the bloop, but that ball was spanked.
Now Scooter Gennett. Struck out his first time up. The count is 0-1 here.
Well, Scooter can hack at that breaking ball, can he? That's something that eventually he will learn. If he's as good a hitter as what the Brewers think he's going to be, that's something you'll learn and you lay off of, and now you're ahead 1-0. But I mean, as long as he keeps swinging at it, wouldn't you keep throwing it?
And try to bunt his way aboard. Kelly rifles it off the glove of Adams, and another run will come in to score.
To me, Kelly gets his ball in plenty of time to get Gennett, but Watch him right here, Dan. Looks like, oh, I'm going to take it easy, collect myself, make a nice, easy throw. And he saw Jeanette busting it down the line. He thought, oh, I got to rush this thing. And he gets underneath it, Oral, just like a pitch that sails on you when you're throwing the home plate. Look how he gets underneath this ball. Look how it just takes off. He gets underneath it and just shoots it, up-shoots it, and that's a play. I don't care how big Adams is. That's a tough one to come up with, but this is something Adams will learn also with the runner on second base. Come off the base, get the ball. Don't try to stretch for it and try to make the great play. Come off the base, jump, get the ball, and you hold the guy at third base. Aoki has to stay at third base, and now you have Lucroy has to get a hit with 2 outs now to score a run.
So 2 errors in the inning on the Cardinals. 1 on David Freese, 1 on Joe Kelly. 2 unearned runs in and a 4-0 lead for the Brewers. Lucroy up. He doubled and scored his first time up.
But I'm not a big fan of the bunting with the runner on second base and 2 outs. And that's something I'm sure Ron Renicky will talk to Jeanette about when he comes in the dugout.
Former teammate of yours in the minors?
Yeah, Ronnie, yeah. Played everywhere. Played all 3 outfield positions, switch hitter, could hit. Quiet. Of course, with our team, he probably didn't have a lot of opportunity to talk.
Jam shot, center field. Jay is there. And the inning is over. Another productive inning for the Brewers. Take advantage of the defense, up 4-0. Matt Carpenter due up second for the Cardinals when we come back. For the game today, but say the Reds and Pirates, who are playing each other on the last day of the season, say they're tied. They know they're going to play each other Tuesday in a wild card game. Do you use your best pitcher on Sunday to try to get home field, or do you save your best pitcher, which I think would be the case, but who knows, to try to pitch in that wild card game on Tuesday? Now, the race for home field is interesting, too, because if you have the best record, you will play a wild card team, the wild card winner, a team that likely will not have had the opportunity to set up its pitching. Say the Cardinals and Dodgers meet, they can both set up their pitching. Theoretically, it depends how early you clinch your division. But so there's a lot on the line here. Even teams like the Braves and the Dodgers, even though they know what their situation is, to get that best record, to play a team that can't line up its pitching, could be a big, big advantage in October. There's Joe Kelly leading it off. As an example, you know the Cardinals, if they can, would love to have Adam Wainwright available for Game 1 of a division series, assuming they win the division. But if they need him to clinch the division, say on the final day of the season, then they'd have to go to somebody else. But these are things that teams like the Red Sox and the A's and the Braves won't have to worry about. Aoki the catch to retire Kelly. Here comes Matt Carpenter, and we asked him yesterday how he's adjusted to becoming a leadoff hitter.
It was something that he had mentioned to me in spring training, that just kind of be heads up for, that he was thinking that at some point that might be something to kind of jumpstart our offense. And you know, I certainly didn't think that at the time that it would be something that would flourish into me being in there every day. But you know, I love it. You know, I love being the guy who sets the table for our big guys like Carlos and Matt and Yachty, and getting on base for those guys. And it's a lot of fun, something I take a lot of pride in.
And it's something he's done exceptionally well. And we actually asked him that today, not yesterday. You spent some time with him down behind the batting cage today.
Well, over by the Cardinals dugout, Dan.
So I'm 0 for 2.
Well, it's a struggle for you. But
well hit, deep right field, gone. Number 11 for Matt Carpenter.
Well, this is what a good approach at home plate is. His first at bat, first inning, he takes 8 pitch at bat before he walks, and then he gets a pitch he likes off Peralta, and he says, you know what, I'm not waiting around. But look how short and compact that swing is. Very little movement, very little movement in his hands. Just brings him back just a little bit just to get him loaded and ready to go, and generate some pop with that swing.
His first at bat, we watched him in a 3-2 count being late on fastballs, kind of waiting to see if they're strikes or balls, and there in a count where he can handle the fastball, starts a little bit early, gets the head out.
Carpenter continues to finish the season very, very well and put up extraordinary numbers among league leaders in batting average, and he is the league leader in doubles, runs, hits. All for a guy in his first year as an everyday player at the big league level.
If his name wasn't Matt Carpenter, he'd be almost a shoo-in for the MVP. The fact that he's got Yadier Molina as a teammate is going to help split some of the votes. Wow. Fastball in and no chance to jam him there. He got the foot down, the hands were ready to launch.
Jay is retired, 2 down. Well, is Matt Carpenter in the MVP conversation right now? Has he done enough to be there? It seems like a pretty wide open thing. Another teammate of his, as you mentioned, Yadier Molina, obviously is going to get some consideration. Paul Goldschmidt leading the National League in home runs and RBIs, but the Diamondbacks are not a playoff team. Will that be held against him? And Andrew McCutchen on a team that certainly seems headed towards the postseason, has had another big year and has done some of his best work down the stretch.
Yeah, just the opposite for McCutchen. I remember last year in September he got hit by a pitch in the hand and struggled that whole month of September, and the Pirates fell by the wayside. And, this year he's healthy and helping carry this team. Look, Goldschmidt's number-wise, his numbers are better than the other 3 guys, just pure numbers. But he's playing on a team that's not contending, and I think what Yadier Molina does for this team, not only offensively but defensively, the way he's had to nurse a pitching staff that's had guys that's never started in the big leagues, in this rotation this year, and having to work with those guys, that to me is more value than any offense can be.
I think there's a sentimental vote out there for Andrew McCutchen. Finally, with Pittsburgh, what's happened there, and as great a player as he is, and the numbers they put up. And then Yadier, I think, is going to get a lot of the sentimental vote as far as the long-term career impact votes. And then I think Carpenter's going to get nosed out because he just hasn't been on the scene long enough. And he's got a team like Yadier that's going to get probably the bulk of those votes.
And he might take some from Yadier, too, which could cost him. And
I think it'll come down to McCutchen and Yadier, but I think Carpenter's going to be nosed out at 2 or 3.
There's Matt Adams, struck out his first time up. 4-1, the Brewers lead the Cardinals. 3rd inning here in Milwaukee. The Carpenter home run and getting the Cardinals on the board this inning.
If Carpenter was Dustin Pedroia, if you had that name, you just say, well, okay, he's going to get his second one.
See how deep the second baseman Jeanette is for Adams. It's not a shift, really. It's just the second baseman playing shallow right. Not that shallow.
Well, with 2 outs, you can do this.
Yeah.
1 out, I'm pretty sure he'd be somewhere closer to this stadium than he is right now.
Well, that's a long throw. That's a throw a second baseman's not used to making.
He might have to bounce it.
In the air to shallow center to end the inning. The Cardinals, though, get 1 back. MVP candidate Matt Carpenter with his 11th home run of the season. Going to the bottom of the 3rd, Brewers 4, Cardinals 1. Presented by Taco Bell. Dan Schulman, John Kroc, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, Miller Park into Milwaukee. The Brewers lead the St. Louis Cardinals 4-1. Joe Kelly, 25-year-old right-hander, is on the mound for the Cardinals, facing the 4, 5, 6 hitters, the middle of the Milwaukee lineup, beginning with Aramis Ramirez, who had an RBI single his first time up. Slow roller to short. 1 pitch, 1 out. Oral, as you look at the St. Louis rotation, I think everybody would agree Adam Wainwright is the number 1. You've got Lance Lynn, who was great, then really struggled. Now he's come back his last 2 or 3 starts. And then you've got young pitchers like Kelly and an even younger pitcher like Shelby Miller. How does this stack up in the postseason?
Well, number 1, Wainwright. Last day of the season, if they need home field advantage or the first game in the playoffs, and I think they'll probably go Joe Kelly. They've won 11 of his 14 starts. This one a little rocky right here, but he's almost due. And then I don't know after that. Lance Lynn has been inconsistent. Shelby Miller, I don't think I don't think Walker's going to make the rotation. I think he'll end up in the bullpen or maybe not even on the roster, depending on how the bullpen shakes out for the Cardinals.
You know, it's very possible that the Cardinals will play the Dodgers in a division series, depending on how things work out, obviously. But if the Cardinals were to win their division, if Atlanta had the best record in the National League, it would be the Cardinals and the Dodgers in a division series. There's a liner down to third, caught by Freese. Gomez retired 2 down. Think about the prospects of Adam Wainwright matching up with Clayton Kershaw in games 1 and 5.
That would be unbelievable pitching duel. It could be 2 1-0 games either way. Adam Wainwright has been in those big games in the last out and also at the beginning. And Clayton Kershaw with the Dodgers, the way he's pitched this year, he's probably going to win his 2nd Cy Young.
There's Schaefer. 2 quick outs for Kelly here in the bottom of the 3rd. We got a strike over the outside corner at 95.
The thing about Joe Kelly and Shelby Miller and Lance Lynn, even, they're still works in progress. Even though there's starting rotation, playoff caliber guys that are going to be in the playoffs, they are young and they are learning still themselves about themselves, how to pitch. That fastball right there inside to a lefty is a pitch that Kelly is still working on. He has been dotting that pitch to the right-handers, but to lefties there seems to be an optical barrier of seeing that left-hander in the box to get it in there for a strike. What a great guy behind the plate to lead him, though, in Yadier Molina.
An optical barrier?
I don't know, just a visual barrier. A visual barrier that when he can hit that non-arm side fastball low and away to a righty, but as soon as you see a left-hander up there, it seems like he's having trouble keeping the ball in there for a strike. It's the same exact pitch. The hitter's just standing on the wrong side of the plate.
Thought you guys were supposed to concentrate on the glove.
You are.
Lazy fly ball to center off the bat of Schaefer. A 3-up, 3-down, 7-pitch inning for Joe Kelly. Yadier Molina to lead it off for the Cardinals after this. The Brewers leading the Cardinals 4-1 here. The Cardinals try to move 3 games ahead of both the Reds and Pirates in the National League Central. A loss tonight would drop them to 2 games ahead of both of those teams. Yadier Molina is going to lead off the inning for the Cardinals. And he's having a little discomfort on the back of his neck, as we have seen on a few occasions tonight. This is the first at bat of the ball game for the Brewers when Aoki is up, and you can see Molina reaching around behind his neck repeatedly, bothered by something. Trainer look at it in the dugout as well. It's not enough to get him out of the ball game or anything like that, but he's got something going on back there.
Is that a fresh mohawk he got? Maybe he got the razor cutting back there or something.
Maybe. He's still talking about it with Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire, and maybe Martin Maldonado, the catcher, as well. They were talking about it earlier between innings. Looks like he's got a burn or something that's stinging him back there. Right at Gomez. Let's listen in as Yadier Molina talks about it with umpire Ted Barrett.
Did you put something on that ointment?
Yeah, I put something on it. Feel like sting, you know?
Yeah. How you doing?
Ted Barrett saying hi to people, and he's making sure everybody's okay. Did you put something on it? Freese lifts the ball to deep right center. Playable, though, for Aoki. Is that typical home plate umpire stuff, guy? Are they that involved talking to that many people during the game?
I was 60 feet away, so I don't know. You have to ask John.
Yeah, it depends on who it was. I mean, I remember when Gary Carter caught, he had a running conversation with anyone who came close. Umpire, hitter, third baseman. I mean, if they moved in for a bunt, he was talking to him. But, yeah, there's a lot of conversation between catcher and umpire.
2 quick outs for Peralta here in the 4th inning. Milwaukee up 4-1, and the batter is Descalso, hit a fly ball to center his first time up.
tell you, the conversation I did not like is when the batter and the umpire talked about pitches and how far off the plate or where they were on the strike zone, or I won't go any further than that, and they call a strike. Because as a pitcher, you can't ask the umpire that. How much more do I have to bring in near the plate before you call it a strike?
Great stop, Jeanette. Great scoop, Lucroy to end the inning. Terrific play on both ends by the Milwaukee Brewers. Diving stop, back to his feet. The throw by Jeanette, scoop by Lucroy. 5-pitch, 3 up, 3 down for Peralta.
Grandfather Francisco Nunez passed away. He always gave me advice about baseball. One thing he always used to tell me was that you can't play in the big leagues if you can't bunt. Little things like that, he always encouraged me. I'll inscript his initials on the dirt and pray for him. So I do that so I know he's always with me and watching me, and he's always by my side.
Manny Machado, one of the great young talents in baseball. ESPN's celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month continues through October the 15th and culminates on the 15th with 30 for 30 no mas. Leonard Duran, 8 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Bottom of the 4th here at Miller Park. Brewers 4, Cardinals 1. Joe Kelly gave up 2 earned runs in the first, 2 unearned runs in the second. An error by David Freese and then an error on Kelly himself. Jeff Bianchi, the shortstop, is up for Milwaukee. Chases and the count is 0-2. Bottom 3rd of the order, Bianchi, Maldonado, Peralta. Well, he's bounced a few of those tonight.
He's looking for a way to throw an off-speed pitch, and sometimes he tries to change speeds on his slider. Sometimes he goes with the curveball. The thing that he's doing well tonight is being more pitch efficient, throwing more strikes with his fastball, keeping the ball down. His earned runs he gave up were mostly ground balls.
Hung that one a little bit, but gets a ground ball to short. 4 out, number 1. Let's go down to Buster Olney.
Guys, I talked to Cardinals manager Mike Matheny between innings, and he says that the Cardinals think that he got like a bug bite before the start of the bottom of the 1st inning. They think he's going to be okay.
All right, Buster, thank you. And anything to do with Molina is enough to cause some concern for Cardinal fans. I mean, we've talked about how they can fill in the gaps and adjust and adapt, but this is a pretty indispensable guy. Maldonado reached on an error and scored. In his first time up, personal catcher for Willie Peralta. Which doesn't look like that easy a job sometimes. Peralta's got great stuff, but as we've seen tonight, can be erratic.
Yeah, he's kind of his emotional governor or gas pedal, depending on what he needs. Ron Renneke saying that in the midst of an inning, he might fire one back at his kneecap to wake him up or calm him down.
I think that would calm him down.
Fire at the kneecap or calm you down.
If he gets over emotional, he's already worked up. So.
Fly ball to right, 2 down.
My favorite at that was Tony Pena. Boy, could he throw a ball. At the end of my career, I had Tony when I was in Cleveland, and I tell him, you know, can you not throw it back to me harder than I can throw it to you, please?
A quick 2 outs for Kelly, who has settled down. He's now retired 6 in a row. And here comes Peralta. Had to sacrifice his first time up. The Cardinals will finish up the regular season at home, a 3-game series against Washington Monday through Wednesday. Then they are off on Thursday, and they'll finish the regular season entertaining the Chicago Cubs. Crack bat, slow ground ball, inning over. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for Kelly. Matt Carpenter, who's already homered tonight, will bat in the top of the 5th. Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. And Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. With Oral Hershiser, John Kruk, Buster Olney, and our outstanding ESPN crew, Dan Schulman here in Milwaukee. Sunday Night Baseball, our final Sunday night telecast of the season. There is no Sunday night game on the final weekend of the regular season. Watching the St. Louis Cardinals here, 2.5 up on the Reds and the Pirates in the National League Central. The Reds beating the Pirates earlier today as Matt Carpenter starts to get ready for his at-bat. He's due up third this inning. He's already walked and homered in this game. Willie Peralta to face 8, 9, and 1. Shane Robinson, Joe Kelly, and then Matt Carpenter. There's a pop-up for Jeanette, and Robinson is retired. Going to bring up Joe Kelly as Carpenter comes out into the on-deck circle again at the beginning of the year. Not necessarily a household name, but what an incredible season he has had. Leading the National League with 195 hits now. Leading the National League now with 122 runs. And leading the National League with 54 doubles. Also leading the league in multi-hit games. No matter how you slice it, it has been a great season for Matt Carpenter, who has also changed positions. Instead of being primarily a third baseman, now has been primarily a second baseman, who has also moved to the leadoff spot. Kelly flied out to right his first time up. Shows bunt, takes a strike, 1 and 2.
Kind of wish he'd have bunted that. Aramis Ramirez was out in shallow left field, it seemed like. Kelly gets that ball past the pitcher. It's a base hit. I don't know why he pulled his bat back.
Buckles at the curveball for strike 3. 2 down, nobody on as Carpenter comes up. Let's take a look at his hot zone right now, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Well, Dan, there's not many pitches that Matt Carpenter hasn't been missing this year, hitting well over 320 this year. But you see the hot zone, the Reds, the 350 or higher, the Blues 250 or lower, and down and away, up and away. Yeah, most lefties do struggle with those pitches, but you look at anything center or down, middle, in, and down, he's taking the pitchers to the woodshed on those. And this is not a swing, Dan, that's going to go into prolonged slumps. You know, he'll have an 0 for 10 or 0 for 12, something like that. But he's not going to have an 0 for 20 or anything that drastic because it's just so short and compact. And his knowledge of the strike zone, to me, is what's fascinating. He's just not going to chase.
He took a walk after falling behind in his first at bat. Worked a few 3-2 pitches to get it, then the home run. And here he is back to being the leadoff hitter, not coming out of his game. Guy who hit a home run, you think, oh, he's going to go up there and say, oh, I'm going to have a big night, and he goes right back into grinding it out.
Can you tell, Oral, when a guy was taking a pitch or when a guy had swing mode in mind when you throw a pitch? Because every pitch, it looks like to him he's taking until he swings at it, and he hits one 370 feet for a home run.
On base for the third time in the ballgame. Let's go down to Buster.
Guys, a turning point in Matt Carpenter's career and also his life came during his junior year at Texas Christian. That's when his coach, Jim Schlossnagle, basically told him, look, you have to start taking better care of yourself. And you see the weight from when he was a freshman in 2005, when he was a senior in 2009, because after that conversation with Schlossnagle, and his coach told me, look, I really had no expectation that he would take it to heart. He walked away from that conversation saying, I'm going to change the way I do things. He told Crucky and I today, literally that afternoon, he went and started working on changing his eating habits and his body and his future.
He certainly did that. All-star MVP candidate and one of the most important players on a team headed to the postseason. The Cardinals officially clinching today with Washington losing earlier this afternoon.
The addendum to that story that Buster told us was the coach said he'd be the last guy I think that was going to be in the big leagues, and thought maybe 2 years later he'd be back trying to coach at the college level.
Tricked them. He might be here a while. I'm not a scout or anything.
Is that a hunch?
I'm not a scout, but I mean, just as an evaluator, he seems like he's probably going to be here a while.
Yeah, he'd be pretty good.
Little outside, ball 3. Peralta has been fighting his command for most of the night. He's walked 4, hit 1, and thrown a wild pitch.
This was frustrating to Ron Renicky. 2 quick outs. He walks Carpenter on 4 pitches. Now he's 3-1 on John Jay,
who laces it into right field for a base hit. Carpenter up to second. Earlier today, Cincinnati defeating Pittsburgh 11-3 to take 2 out of 3 in that series. As we check out the hunt for October, brought to you by iShares by BlackRock. The Cardinals have clinched a playoff spot. Neither the Pirates nor the Reds have yet, but they both are a virtual certainty. Remember, the Pirates and Reds finished the regular season against one another, a 3-game series in Cincinnati. Whichever 2 of these teams don't win the division, finish in the wild card spots, will have to play each other in a 1-game playoff, 1 a week from Tuesday. One other thing to note, let's say, for example, the Cardinals and Pirates finish tied for the division. They have to have a 1-game playoff to see who is the division champion and who is the wild card team. So you could have some games on Monday. It's not just the American League wild card race where all the craziness is happening. You could conceivably have 2 of these 3 National League Central teams playing on Monday to determine who's the division winner and who is one of the wild card teams.
So you're saying hold on our travel arrangements?
Yes. We'll be making them Sunday night. Looking forward to being a part of ESPN Radio's coverage of the postseason all through the month of October. John Shambi and Chris Singleton, who do such great work doing the Sunday night games, Saturday games, and other games on radio all season long. They'll be a big part of it. Baseball Tonight will be along for the ride. We'll see you on the road every now and again, Crucky, during the postseason.
Yeah, during the World Series. Yeah. Go up to Bristol for studio.
This is a big game for the Cardinals. You know, first and second here, 2 outs. You think they can get back into this game, but they could be up by 3 on both teams with 6 to go. They can nail this one down, and then the closer they get to nailing down the division, then they can start adjusting their rotation and start really thinking about what do they want to do in the playoffs. But they have this daily, moment-by-moment focus right now. They don't want to talk about postseason.
Even though they did clinch a playoff spot officially today. Buster with more on that.
Yeah, guys, it was so laid back in their clubhouse. It wasn't like they were excited when they learned that they made the playoffs. For them, they're trying to win the division. They're trying to finish with the best record in the league. In fact, when I interviewed Trevor Rosenthal before the game and I said, what do you think about you guys making the playoffs? He looked at me and said, well, you're the first one I heard it from.
Funny, huh? So no.
There are a bunch of them in there. Oh, yeah, that's what I heard. It's just, you know, ho-hum. Here we are. We're the Cardinals, and we get into playoffs every year. We thought we'd be here. But that, you know, winning the division is their main focus right now. They, you know, they won't say it to a man, but they don't want to play that 1-game playoff or play-in or whatever you want to call it.
I don't think they're disrespecting the notion of being a wild card.
No.
They just don't want to have their season come down to 1 game.
No. They want the home field advantage, and they want to play at least 5 games to decide, or at least 3 games to decide a series winner instead of 1.
Remember, they played into last year, beating Atlanta.
Yeah, Mike Matheny said, you know, he thinks it's a huge accomplishment. Any team that plays beyond 162, even if it's that 1 game, but that is not their focus.
2 years as a manager, 2 trips to the postseason for Mike Matheny. Runners will be going. And it misses inside for ball 4. Yet another walk, and this one will load the bases.
Peralta didn't look too happy with that call right there at the end.
bullpen's going to get busy. The bases are loaded, 2 outs. Remember, this all started with 2 outs, nobody on. Walk, single walk to load him. And up steps a guy who can do damage in a hurry in Matt Adams. And he has been hot. That September 4th date you see, that's the day of the Allen Craig injury. And Adams, who's become a regular since then, has hit 7 home runs since that time.
His last at bat, he just caught one off the end of the bat and flew out to center field. He wakes back just a split second more. Cardinals might have a lead after this at bat. Right, 4 and 1's 5.
Yes, sir.
Boy.
Up and away, ball 1. He's all over the place now. Donovan Hand is up in the Milwaukee pen.
You love what he did after the pitching coach went out and talked to him. He throws a great changeup 2-0 to Beltran to get a strike, and then he goes right back to all over the place.
Here comes the long throw in time. So the defense pays off, and Peralta somehow gets out of it. 1 here at Miller Park. We've got a Wednesday night Major League Baseball doubleheader for you here on ESPN, beginning at 7 Eastern with the Tampa Bay Rays with their sights set on a wild card berth in the American League, taking on the Yankees. David Price is on the mound for Tampa Bay. Then the second game, the Dodgers and the Giants, brought to you by T-Mobile, 10 Eastern on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Things are becoming a little bit clearer, not that much, in the American League wild card race. Tampa Bay winning again today. They beat Baltimore again. They've won the first 3 of a 4-game series. They play again tomorrow against the Orioles, and they have all but finished off the Orioles' playoff chances. And the Fighting Franconas won again today. Cleveland defeating Houston 9-2, a 4-game sweep for the Indians. So right now the Rays and Indians are in. Texas lost another game today. They had another devastating defeat, extra innings against Kansas City. Scoreless game, bottom of the 10th inning. Justin Maxwell with a grand slam, 4-0. Kansas City wins. Another crushing defeat for Texas, a game and a half back. Kansas City, even with the win, it looks like the Royals, Orioles, and Yankees that they just may run out of days on the calendar. As it stands right now, it would be Tampa Bay and Cleveland as the American League wildcard teams.
And I'm sure that'll catapult Terry Francona into Manager of the Year.
He will definitely get a lot of votes.
He sure got smarter after his year with us, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't feel that way.
I think our phones are going to light up now.
Yep.
Mine are. You guys haven't got no job offers. That Terry did.
No,
Bobby did.
I meant Terry's going to text us. He's going to be texting us right now.
I thought you meant you guys are going to get calls from teams.
But you're right. He could be Manager of the Year. John Farrell could be Manager of the Year. Bob Melvin could be Manager of the Year.
Yeah.
Joe Girardi.
The Indians just got done sweeping the Astros. 4-game series. There it is.
Yeah, and they play the White Sox and Twins the rest of the way. They don't play any more contending teams. Hot at the right time.
We talked about a month ago that Tampa Bay probably had another run in them. They did that. Doing well.
Yeah, that
pitching in the second half.
Pitching,
awesome.
that pitching, they always have a run left in them.
Aoki draws the walk. He's on base for the 3rd time tonight.
That could hurt his chances for the cycle.
Singled and doubled in his first 2 at-bats.
You're locked in tonight, John.
Yeah, I seem to be remembering some things.
So here's Jeanette, a strikeout, and he's reached on an error. Milwaukee up 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Aoki's got some speed, 20 stolen bases, although he has been caught 12 times. Jeanette's having a tough night at the plate so far.
Looks a little anxious to me, huh, Crucky?
Well, it seems to me if it's moving forward, he's going to try to take a whack at it. But yeah, he's not. He hasn't. I mean, and give Yadier and Kelly a lot of credit. They haven't thrown him any strikes.
Base hit.
Threw him a hanging changeup right there, and he was swinging. He was out in front. I think he cue-shotted that off the end of the bat. 86 miles an hour and up.
But it was a strike. That's the thing. It was a strike, and you see the pitch. I mean, Oral, right? Kelly throws a changeup, and you see it's up. You see Yadier trying to get out there and get it before Jeanette could take a swing at it. But if it's down, that's either ground ball back to the pitcher or swing through. Instead, it's up, and he can get his bat on it.
Scooter didn't see it.
No, he looked up.
He wasn't admiring it like, oh, wow, I killed that one. He hit it off the end of the bat. He had no idea where he hit it.
Well, you know, McCutcheon hit a home run here about a couple weeks ago, and he stood at home plate looking for it, and it went over the left center field fence. So apparently, and Nomar Garciaparra told me this is the hardest part for him to hit in when the roof's closed because it's so dark. He said it was like dark.
Lucroy bounces into a fielder's choice, first and third, one out. Every ballpark is different, and this is something probably that doesn't get discussed enough. Hitters will tell you this park has a great batter's eye, a great backdrop. This ballpark doesn't. Arizona's a place where all hitters say just a great place to hit. There's nothing to obstruct your view at all. Does that big scoreboard come into play for you at all?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would, but I'm sure if it did, there'd be, you know, Prince Fielders of the world and Ryan Brauns of the world, and Aramis Ramirez would have complained about it. Not that you can locate that anywhere else in here, but you know, you may turn out a light or two. But you know, Nomar told me just when the roofs closed, he said it was like he said it was just like it wasn't as bright as it would be in a normal stadium. Right. He said it was a little dark and it was hard to pick up spin on the balls when he told me.
I would like it.
Fouled back by Ramirez. Big cut. Ramirez with 350 career home runs, 7th all time among players who were primarily third basemen. He's been an RBI machine over many years in his career. Had an RBI single in the first inning tonight, grounded out in the third. Missed a lot of time with injuries this year, though, as mentioned earlier. That's why he's only got 48 RBIs on the season. Do you guys see the Brewers? All of a sudden, this is a division. A couple years ago, you'd look at this division and say, boy, it's not the toughest division in baseball. Look at it now with Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, St. Louis. Do you guys see the Brewers as a significantly better team next year? They'd obviously have to be healthier, and I guess one of the big unknowns is what kind of production do they get from Ryan Braun?
Yeah, what do we get when Ryan Braun's back after the 65-game suspension? They've got a great shortstop in Segura, who's going to be outstanding. Gomez in center is going to be outstanding. Corey Hart, who knows if he comes back here, free agent, and what he'll produce coming back from the knee surgeries.
And they think Chris Davis is going to be a big-time hitter. Powered all fields, as Ron Renicke's scouting report on him. Again, it depends on their pitching, Dan. You keep hearing they're going to trade Giovanni Gallardo. They wanted to trade him at the deadline. A month prior, he struggled that whole month leading up to the trade deadline. Teams backed away, and they talked about maybe they're going to trade him this offseason. And
they're going to have Loesch, Gallardo, hopefully, and Peralta, the guy I got on the mound tonight, started out with 3 of them.
Kelly pulled his hand back to let it go, and a very wise decision by the right-hander as the double play ends the inning. Baseball on ESPN. The Brewers trying to salvage the final game of the series from the Cardinals. They're up 4-1 right now. The Cardinals will be either 2 up on the Pirates and Reds or 3 up on the Pirates and Reds at the end of play tonight. Yadier Molina leading off the 6th for St. Louis. Molina has walked and hit a fly ball to center field. The Cardinals have only 2 hits in this game through 5 innings off Willie Peralta. The home run in the 3rd by Matt Carpenter, then a base hit in the 5th by John Jay. Peralta, though, has been trying to help the Cardinals. He's walked 5, hit 1, and thrown a wild pitch, yet here he is with the lead in the 6th inning. Milwaukee just 4-14 against St. Louis this season. There's the third hit of the night for the Cardinals. Here's Freese, hit by a pitch, drilled by a pitch, and hit a fly ball to right field.
After one got thrown over his head.
Yeah. Bullpen busy for the second time tonight for Milwaukee. Chopper weakly hit, tough play, no play. It'll be an infield hit for Freese, and the Cardinals have the first 2 men aboard here in the 6th inning. And right-hander Donovan Hand is up for the second time in as many innings. Here's Descalso. 2 on, nobody out for the Cardinals. As a hitter, Crucky, when you see a guy battling the strike zone as much as Peralta is, do you go into conservative mode here and take, or with men on base?
No, you go into 2-strike or 2-0 pitch.
Yep.
Every pitch is a 2-0 pitch. You just zone him in like Carpenter did. You zone him in, you get your pitch, you let it fly.
Down the left field line. A foul ball.
It's a pretty good pitch down and away by Peralta with the. And Descalso went down there and got it, but that's one of those balls where that, you know, when it's down like that, when you left-hander hits it, it's going to slice on your heart. And that ball just sliced foul, or could have been dangerous for Peralta. It might have ended his night.
And a patient into right field for Descalso. Molina will be held, and the Cardinals have loaded the bases with nobody out.
Uncharacteristically, the Cardinals going into that at bat were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. There they get the hit but don't score the run. But this has really set the table. They've set the table in the 2nd and the 5th, and now here again in the 6th.
They're going to have a lot more opportunities for runners in scoring position this inning.
And that's going to be all for Peralta. Ron Renicky takes the ball from the right-hander. Donovan Hand will come in and inherit a bases loaded, nobody out situation here in the 6th. Presented by Taco Bell. Pitching change for the Brewers. They've got a 4-1 lead, but the Cardinals are threatening here in the top of the 6th inning as we send it down to field level one more time with Buster Olney.
Guys, Matt Holliday was in the original starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals, but during batting practice he was a scratch because what the Cardinals are saying are back spasms.
And a guy who has not been at his healthiest late in the season each of the last 2 years. So if you're Mike Matheny, John Mozeliak, you've had a great season. But is Alan Craig going to be able to play? Is Edward Mujica going to find what he had? Or is somebody else going to step in there as the closer? And they hope, obviously, the Holiday situation is just a simple 24-hour thing, a late scratch before the game tonight. But a lot of contending teams looking at key players with some health concerns heading into October. As Donovan Hand starts Shane Robinson with a strike. Hand 3 different stints with the Brewers this year. He has pitched as both a starter and a reliever. 21 relief appearances, 7 starts. Robinson in the lineup for Holiday. And Mike Matheny's got his pitcher Joe Kelly on deck right now. The down 3, they got the bases loaded, nobody out, maybe a big inning and maybe a decision coming for Mike Matheny. to right field. Aoki the catch. Here comes Molina. Throw to the plate is up the line. Run scores and everybody advances.
On a base hit by Descalso, Aoki airmailed the cutoff man and tried to throw it all the way in the air to Maldonado. And here's another one. Yadier Molina running. Yeah, you may think you have a chance, but you still have to hit the cutoff man. What he does, he airmails everyone, and look at everyone else advance bases. Now, if Kelly or if Carpenter up after him, you take the double play out of order one, and now Carpenter's going to get an at-bat with runners in scoring position. You wonder why teams are where they are, Dan.
There's Kelly, strike of the knees. And something Ron Renicky talked about before the game. He was talking about the Cardinals' approach in certain at-bats, and basically said, boy, I wish more of my players had that kind of understanding and approach. But as you say, I'm sure it carries over to many other aspects of the game as well.
Yeah, you know, it all looks great, and the crowd goes, ooh, look at that throw. But, you know, ooh, look at everyone run around the bases, too.
Right field again.
Try it again.
Aoki battling the lights makes the catch. Another run will come home on another sacrifice fly. That was not a routine play out in right field as the Cardinals close within a run.
Well, anyone who's ever played left field in San Diego knows how bad the lights were at Jack Murphy Stadium. Aoki right here does a great job of battling. Look, make the catch. If he doesn't make the catch, now you're at a tie game. You know, you're just saying, okay, I don't care what the runners are doing on base. I'm going to try to catch this thing.
That's got to be a terrible feeling.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. The only thing you hope for is that it hits your. First thing is it hits your glove. Second, that it hits you somewhere and stays in front of you.
So a couple of runs in on sacrifice flies. The tying run at third with 2 down. And a slow curveball drops in for a strike to Matt Carpenter. He has homered and walked twice.
Must be a nice feeling for a leadoff hitter. No, you come up and their first pitch change up and you.
We talked about in our production meeting that Matt Carpenter really has changed the way opposing teams look at him as starting pitchers. You actually need to know where he's at and when he's coming up, because he is just not an ordinary Cardinal and he's not an ordinary leadoff hitter. He's going to grind out the at-bats. He's going to get key RBIs. He's going to score runs when he gets on. In the lineup with Holidays and Molinas and all the different guys, Freese and Craig, Carpenter has gone to the top of the list of finding out where's he at.
Tying run at third, 2 down, 6th inning. Boy, that is 3 slow curveballs under 70 miles an hour that he has thrown to Carpenter.
He humped up on that one. The first 2 were 67. That one was 68. So let's be getting a better feel for it, loosening up.
A lot of MVP voters sitting at home right now watching Sunday Night Baseball. The only game on. Carpenter get a hit here, home run, RBI.
Yes, he did, and the count is full.
That was a 3-1 pitch where he was trying to put him ahead. He was looking in. He jumped out at that one, tried to get in front of it.
And that's not selfish, John, is it? 3-1 right there, 2 out, go for it.
He got fooled by the pitch, but that's the thing with him. A lot of guys right now, oh my gosh, I got 2 strikes. Now he's panicking. You're swinging at everything. He's still liable to walk on a close pitch.
He's not panicking, but he's mumbling. He's mumbling to himself. But what just happened and what he's looking for here. 3-2, 2 down. Runner at third. Another curveball, and this one gets him. 4 of those in the at-bat. As Hand strikes out Carpenter to end the inning. The Cardinals get 2 but strand a runner at third after this tantalizing 68-mile-an-hour pitch. Those were good times for the Milwaukee Brewers. Ryan Braun winning the MVP. They advance to the postseason. They defeat the Diamondbacks in the division series before losing to the Cardinals in 6 in the National League Championship Series. Ryan Braun was on top of the baseball world, but how things have changed in the last couple of years. Suspended for the last 65 games of this season. And his reputation obviously tarnished to a great extent, not just the suspension, because he's not the only guy who's been through that, but the way the whole thing unfolded last year and again this year. There's a fair ball down the line off the bat of Carlos Gomez, and it gets past Robinson and left, and Gomez is thinking 3.
You get to see a lot of the tools for Gomez right here. First of all, the bat speed to hit the ball down the line. Then we get to watch him fly and cut the bases, have his head up and see that he can get to third. And he puts on the Jets there and makes it to the end.
A leadoff triple for Gomez on a ball hit into the left field corner. That forces the infield in now for the Cardinals. The batter is Logan Schaefer. That is the 10th triple of the season for Gomez. That ties him for the National League lead with his injured teammate Gene Segura.
Well, you're just wondering when Carlos Gomez would put a full season together. He's had spurts of great play. You know what he can do defensively. He has a great throwing arm. That you wonder when the offense would catch up, and it seems like it's starting to catch up, World.
2-0. That ball down the left field line looked like Robinson was playing it as if it would carry him off the angled wall down the line back into fair territory, and it didn't hit that part. It hugged the wall down into the corner, and he had to give chase. The ball didn't skip over his glove or anything. He just was not where the ball was going because he thought it was going somewhere else. Just missed the angled wall, and then Robinson had to go give chase. Got to be another play that's no fun for a corner outfielder, trying to guess which part of the wall it's going to hit.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, though. You run to the wall. If it kicks out, you can run and get it and come in on it and maybe keep Gomez at second.
2-1 changeup there from Kelly. The count is 2-2. Matheny talking about Joe Kelly, who's basically been a 6-inning pitcher, saying it's not that they don't want him to go further, it's that he hasn't been as efficient as he needs to be. Although he's trailing tonight, you can see how low the pitch count is. Just 66 pitches as he works here in the 6th inning. Strike 3 call. Boy, 84-mile-an-hour changeup, and he backs it up with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that comes back over the inside corner.
He's been able to throw this pitch with righties up there. This is the first one he's really been able to keep in there with left-handers up there. And you look at this great tail, and that's what fools Schaefer.
That's
the
like
visual blockage is gone, John.
Yeah, we like that.
He got it in there. Well, I know, but I went to another word for you. I know.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, that looked like a left-handed slider to a left-handed hitter, the way Schaefer took that pitch.
This is Molina doing all the talking.
Well, who else would you listen to out there?
He has helped the young pitching staff of the Cardinals immeasurably. Kelly's a guy who came to camp battling for the 5th starter spot with Shelby Miller, lost out in that job, went to the bullpen for the first half of the season, did a good job. Jake Westbrook got hurt, Kelly goes into the rotation, and he has not come out, and he's 9-2 with a 2.14 ERA in 14 starts this season. Runner at third, 1 out, and ball 1 to Jeff Bianchi. This is a big run the Brewers have to get back. Leadoff triple, just gave up 2 on sacrifice flies in the top half of the inning. And can they just get a fly ball of their own here to put one more run back on the board?
A lot of communication between Kelly, Molina, and the bench with Matheny about pitching around right here, setting up the double play.
Ground ball to third. Runner coming home. They got Gomez in a rundown. And a diving tag to get him by Kelly, the pitcher, to get Gomez. Meanwhile, Bianchi winds up at second.
Kelly, one of the faster runners on the team, was a center fielder in his youth and is a power shagger during batting practice. You saw his wheels right there.
How often do you see a pitcher run down a guy with the speed of Gomez in a rundown?
The world-class speed he's running down here. Molina's not going to do it with his bad knee, and now Freese isn't going to do it here. But here comes Kelly, and he goes, okay, I'll show you. We tired you out a little bit, but I got wheels too. And he's going to end it with diving across the finish line for this tag. They were pitching around, set up a double play, but they decided to swing it a pitcher's pitch inside there. John got a little ground ball to third.
And now the trainer out to make sure that Kelly's okay.
Well, remember, he was questionable going into this start with a slight right calf pull, and he might have just aggravated it right there a little bit.
Looks like they're looking at his
hand.
His right hand.
Get a little burn on it.
Yeah, because you dive and you're reaching with your left hand with the glove, the ball in the glove on the left hand. Watch his right hand. This is just like a head first slide. Look at the right hand go out, hits the dirt the same. Might have cut his
burning up the
palm
right
a little bit. I never minded this as a hitter. Guy throws 97 and he wants to throw a couple to make sure he knows where it's going.
You got Monday Night Football coming your way tomorrow night. The Denver Broncos, who have scored 90 points in their first 2 games, take on the Oakland Raiders. Coverage begins with the Monday Night Countdown at 6:30. Then it's Oakland and Denver tomorrow at 8:25 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Now, is Gomez, was he going on the contact play, or did he just make a mistake?
No, he was going on contact. He left as soon as the ball hit the bat. It just, two hopper right to Freese. There's nothing you can do.
So the end result, runner at second, 2 down to Martin Maldonado. Takes down and away ball 1. Gomez led off the inning with a triple, and the Brewers are in danger of not getting anything out of it.
You go on contact with the man on third, and then you do what he does. If you're dead out, you got to get in the rundown to get the batter runner to second base, get another guy back in the scoring position. Yes, that is a pitcher's uniform, John.
Well, he was a center fielder at one point. Yep, just remember that.
Most of us were center fielders or shortstops before we went to the mound.
What's that tell you? So you proved you couldn't play.
Oh boy, here we go. It's been all year. We're going to get to this.
You're missing Vital right now.
And a strike, 3-1. Pinch hitters come out of the on-deck circle for Milwaukee in the pitcher's spot. Sean Holton. First baseman, corner outfielder. All the injuries, and this being September on a non-contending team. A lot of new faces on this Milwaukee roster right now. As Crucky said earlier, trying to prove they've got a shot to stick in 2014.
pretty good hack right there.
Against a guy who's consistently 96, 97 with his fastball. Michael Blazek is up in the Milwaukee pen. Blazek came over to Milwaukee in the John Axford deal that sent him to the Cardinals. And there's the left-hander who seems like he has been around forever, Randy Choate, up for the Cardinals.
There's a little bit of everybody's delivery in that delivery. Wow.
Ooh. And Halton had to be very alert over in the on-deck circle right there. You can smile about it, but I remember it was Juan Encarnacion, who was with the Cardinals, I believe, had his career end. Got hit by a foul ball standing in the on-deck circle.
Logan Morrison got hit right below or above the eye in the on-deck circle and had stitches in his eye. And you know, as a player, I never thought about that. I never thought that could happen.
You wouldn't pay attention when you're over there?
No, I paid attention, but I mean, look how close you are. What's the chance of getting out of the way, especially me? Hey, you're trying to time the pitcher right now. You're not looking at the hitter.
Ground ball to short. And the Brewers leave a man on in scoring position. We're at the end of 6 in Milwaukee. It remains the Brewers 4 and the Cardinals 3. BN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Chevrolet. Enter for a chance to win a trip for 4 to the World Series. Vote for the 2013 Roberto Clemente Award at ChevyBaseball.com. And Xerox. With Xerox, you're ready for real business. Terrific play, one of the best plays of the game by Joe Kelly, the pitcher, running down Carlos Gomez in a rundown, a pivotal play in the just completed bottom of the 6th. One of the big reasons why the Brewers still have just a 1-run lead at 4-3 as we go to the 7th. John Jay, Carlos Beltran, and Matt Adams for the Cardinals. Boy, he likes that slow curveball. Donovan Hand does. Bobbled, recovered by Jeanette for out number 1. By the way, the Roberto Clemente Award, which is given annually by Major League Baseball to the player who best represents the game of baseball through positive contributions on and off the field, including sportsmanship and community involvement. Jonathan Lucroy is the Brewers nominee, and Carlos Beltran is the Cardinals nominee. Beltran, a double play ball and a couple of walks.
Beltran might be sitting on that slow curve. He took that 88-mile-an-hour fastball like he didn't care. Still don't know if you can stay back that long.
Against a guy like this, Crucky, do you ever say, okay, I'm going to look for the slow stuff and adjust to the fastball, which is the opposite that you normally do? Can you do that?
Yeah, but then you get upset when he throws that 88 past you,
right,
and you're like, oh boy, that's the one I should have looked for. And I you know, if the thing is with Hand, he's throwing it in pretty good spots. It's not like he's hanging it, and you know, just the change of speeds is what's getting these Cardinals hitters so far. It's the fact that he's locating it pretty good.
Would you rather get beat by an 88-mile-an-hour fastball or fooled badly by a 68-mile-an-hour curveball? What's worse for a hitter?
The curve. I'd rather get. I would rather get fooled by a curveball than to let a fastball go.
He got beat by the fastball.
I think you had it right, though, Crucky, because he took the first fastball and then he swung at a curveball that had curveball rotation, was there, but wasn't in a good place, and then he gets beat by the fastball up. Brewers win this sequence. Hand has just got him right in his back pocket. Throws it up around the neck. And if he doesn't swing at that one, that's probably the next pitch is a curveball right out of that area.
And that 88's more like 92, 93 because he's throwing something off of 67, throwing it off of 67 miles an hour.
So 2 down, nobody on for Matt Adams. Curveball misses outside, ball one. The shift on for the Brewers. Adams 0 for 3.
And it's not your typical curveball to a lefty where it breaks down and in on a left-handed hitter. It's away. It's a tumbler away.
Little in between there, a slider at 80.
Is it a different look when it's a bigger guy too, and then the ball comes real slow?
Yeah, and he jumps at you like that, like he's jumping at the hitter. Makes it seem like he's going to throw everything hard. We've got these guys baffled.
Just broke Adams' bat. Get the ticket of a lifetime. Go to MLB.com/tickets to find special ticket offers. MLB.TV celebrating 11 years. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on your favorite supported mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV for details. And a lot of Cardinal fans in the house here in Milwaukee. Their team headed to the postseason again. Lays off the curveball, 2-2.
Crookie, what's it like to break your bat and then have a bat in your hand that you didn't have in your hand during the at-bat?
I mean, normally they're all alike, but it looked like
he went to a completely different
bat.
bat.
Yeah, Adams went to a different bat. I don't know if he went to a lighter one or heavier one, or just the same bat, different color. You know, all black bat.
He wouldn't chase that high fastball.
Does it take you a few at-bats to get used to it?
No. They usually
just
send the same exact. I mean, if it broke, it wasn't good to you anyway.
Another swing and a miss at a curveball. Donovan Hand has baffled the Cardinal hitters here tonight. 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, and another pitch that looks so good, but Adams comes up empty. Cardinals looking to inch a step closer toward a division title. Well hit, deep right field, gone! Trying to bunt his way aboard, and another run will come in to score. The Cardinals on their way to October. Clinched a playoff spot today with a Washington loss earlier this afternoon. We're trying to move 3 games ahead of the Reds and Pirates in the National League Central. They're down 4-3 right now. Joe Kelly and Willie Peralta, the starters. Matt Carpenter has hit a home run for St. Louis. For Milwaukee, Norichika Aoki's been on base 3 times. He has scored a run, driven in a run. Here's Juan Francisco now to lead off the bottom of the 7th. Batting in the pitcher spot facing Kelly. Francisco has played a lot of first base for the Brewers this year. He's really a third baseman. He never played first base in the big leagues before, but means he's not playing much of anything lately because he's been struggling so much. Guy with big power, a big swing and miss as well. The Brewers have gotten less production at first base than any other team in baseball. Corey Hart got hurt. Matt Gamble got hurt. Taylor Green got hurt. None of them played at all this season. And they've been using guys like Francisco and Yuniesky Betancourt to play a lot of first base. And when you get down to options 4, 5, 6, you're asking for trouble. As former Brewers closer, John Axford gets up and starts to throw for the Cardinals. Picked up in a deal last month. Full count. Francisco, when he swings, he is always trying to hit one out of the ballpark. There's no 2-strike approach or cut down on your swing approach for Juan Francisco.
You might want to cut down on it here with 2 strikes. Try to get on base.
Sharply hit. Adams feeds Kelly in time.
Yeah, these plays here are tougher than you think for a first baseman, a left-handed hitter that hooks on you, and then it has that spin on it that's going to pick up speed. And that's a perfect play by Matt Adams. To get your big body in front of him. Watch him how he gets his body in front of him. He doesn't try to glove it like a lot of guys do. He gets his body in front of it, lets it hit off the heel of his glove, but he keeps it in front of him and hits him off the chest, and he doesn't panic. He knows Francisco doesn't run well. He knows he has an athletic pitcher who's going to be there to cover first. Just your routine 3-1.
Here's Aoki. Aoki singled in the first, doubled home run in the second, walked in the fifth. Free agent at the end of the year. And a lot of discussion for the Brewers 2014. What's their outfield going to look like next year? Gomez is in center, that they know. But Aoki's a free agent, and they've had a couple of young players, Chris Davis, Caleb Gindel, come up and play well in left field in the absence of Ryan Braun serving his suspension. So some discussion that maybe Braun might move to right field next year. Davis, Gindel, others might battle for left field if Aoki is not retained. Aoki has an option on his end to come back. So a little bit of uncertainty in the Milwaukee outfield heading into 2014. You've also got Corey Hart saying he would take a big time discount to stay with Milwaukee. Missed the whole year after 2 knee surgeries this year. Could he come back? He's a free agent. Could he come back and be their first baseman next year? As Aoki reaches base for the 4th time tonight.
Well, I don't think the Brewers think Aoki's going to pick up his own option, because I think it's only for about $1.5 million. So they think that he will probably become a free agent.
Right-hander John Axford, left-hander Randy Cho.
Joe Kelly on the mound is going to be a big part of the St. Louis October, and busting through kind of the 6th-inning barrier that he's been coming up against. Much more efficient tonight. You see the 4 spot up there for Milwaukee. Remember, only 2 of those are earned. Been a little bit erratic, but he's at least been throwing strikes and attacking the hitters.
Bounces one in, ball 1 to Scooter Gennett, who's 1 for 3. This is the deepest into a game that Kelly has gone this year, 6 1/3. Matching one other start, went 6 1/3 against Atlanta back in late July.
Well, when he was in the bullpen before he became a starter, he's only 14 starts. Mike Matheny told us that he wasn't sure who he was yet, that he can throw 97, 98 miles an hour coming out of the bullpen. He can pitch up in the strike zone. Then he becomes a starter and he starts feeling like, maybe I need to pitch down in the strike zone and finish people up. And he finally has evolved and kind of getting more of an image of who he is and what he's about.
Do you think he needs to choose one, either the high fastball to strike people out or the low fastball to get the ground balls?
I think he's got a great example on his team in Adam Wainwright, who can do both, and I think that he's going to pitch down as a starter and then finish people up, as he knows that's where the guy's hole is. But the key is for him, the mistakes have been kind of in the middle of the strike zone as he decides, am I going down, am I going up, and he kind of just throws it in between, and that's not good.
I think when a pitcher realizes he doesn't have to strike everyone out to get outs, that's when they pitch deeper into games to keep their pitch count down. You tell me Adam Wainwright would rather strike a guy out with no one on base, leadoff hitter, or get a 1-pitch rollover grounder to second base.
All day long, ground ball.
Center field, past Jay to the wall. Aoki getting the wave. Relay to the plate, not in time. 5-3 Milwaukee, and the throw gets away, and Gennett comes to third.
I think this is one of those mid-range fastballs where it's not up and it's not down. Let's take a look. A little bit, up and middle of the plate, kind of lazy tail to it, no sink and no ride like if it was up at 98. This ball is just spanked to center field. And then everybody kind of becomes a spectator after John Jay gets it in. Kelly was kind of spectating in the middle of the field, wasn't behind Yadier, and Yadier was kind of looking up at the runner, seeing
They forgot about catching the ball right here, and everybody is embarrassed right about now.
Double RBI and the error on Molina for not being able to handle the throw. It's the third error of the night committed by the Cardinals. It's 5-3 Milwaukee. Runner at third, one out, infield in. Jonathan Lucroy 1 for 3. So Freese, Kelly, and Molina have all committed errors in this game. And the Brewers have 1 run in, looking for more if they can get a fly ball here off the bat of Lucroy. Earlier today, the Reds pounded the Pirates 11-3. Those two teams are tied right now for the wild card spots, if you will, in the National League. They're 2.5 back of the Cardinals. Keep in mind the Pirates and Reds finish the regular season with a 3-game series in Cincinnati next weekend. The Cardinals finish up against the Nationals and the Cubs, both series at home. Loss tonight for St. Louis. They're 2 up. A win, they're 3 up with a week to go. High fly ball to left field. Plenty deep enough. 6-3 Brewers.
A little difference between Joe Kelly and Adam Wainwright right there. 5 fastballs and really doesn't have a breaking ball or an optical illusion changeup to put somebody away with a strikeout. Just went right back with another fastball in, gave Lucroy a chance to put the ball in play. If you've got Adam Wainwright's curveball right there, you're probably going to have to take a shot at it a couple times, looking like a strike, end up in a ball, and you get to K. As he develops, he will get one.
Ramirez grounds out to end the inning. 3 errors for the Cardinals, and it has cost them tonight. It's the difference in the ball game right now. Ball is presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas. And in part by iShares by BlackRock. Visit iShares.com to learn more. And Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. To the 8th inning here in Milwaukee. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, and the Cardinals trailing the Brewers 6-3. Milwaukee just picked up 2 big runs in the bottom of the 7th. First 3-error game of the season for the Cardinals, and 3 of the 6 runs they have allowed are unearned tonight. New pitcher for Milwaukee here in the 8th inning, right-hander Brandon Kinsler, who has had a very fine season. First full season in the big league. Spent brief parts of the prior 3 years with Milwaukee. But you can see the strikeout to walk ratio and the low whip, walks and hits. Divided by innings pitched. Good numbers for him as the primary 8th inning guy for Milwaukee. Big story for the Brewers really this season, dominating everything else. Ryan Braun's suspension for PEDs. He's tried to reach out to fans. He's actually phoned some season ticket holders. He's reached out to his teammates. Ron Renicky told us he thinks everything's going to be okay. And Renicky said, quote, you know, he's a really good guy. There's the suspension. There's the what he did to deserve the suspension. There's the statement as opposed to sitting in front of microphones and taking questions. There's been very little public FaceTime for Ryan Braun. How do you guys look at the whole situation, the whole scenario with Braun?
Well, the last time he had a public statement about PEDs, he kind of fibbed to all of us, and you know, very believable. That spring training day in 2012, it was very believable. I mean, I walked out of there after watching that thinking, you know what, I believe the guy. And now I don't think there's anything he can say to the fans or anyone else that would make him believable at this point.
I got to spend some time with him right after that during the season, and I'll tell you what, I rode in a golf cart around a ballpark because we had a long walk where we were headed, and he was in the golf cart, so was I, about 5 minutes, and I said, I'm going to go on the air tonight, and I'll support you if you tell me you didn't do it. He said, I didn't do it. He gave me about 5 minutes about how he didn't do it. So it's not only disappointing for me, it's personal, because I got lied to within about 2 feet of each other.
The great unknown is, what are the numbers going to be next year? What kind of a ball player is he going to be? How long was he doing it? We know what he said, but again, given what you said, Oral, you just don't know.
I know, and I would love to see somebody finally step forward and give some of the money back. I would love to see a player. I know the Players Association, the agents won't allow it, but somebody for complete redemption say, you know what, I set some standards taking this stuff, and this is what my standards are, and is there a way that if I don't approach those standards, then let's give some of the money back. Because it's hurting the organization, it's hurting baseball, it's hurting the salary structure, it's hurting everybody.
Yeah, you sign a guy that you believe is not on PEDs, and he is, and then all of a sudden he gets caught and decides, okay, I'm not taking him anymore. You're not getting that player. You're just not. It's proof that these things help you.
Players wouldn't take it if they didn't.
Exactly, and risk the public scrutiny, the suspensions, the whole thing. So.
Apologies, and I love the game, and I'm sorry, and I want to make everybody, but nobody has said, and I'll start over as far as earning money.
Yeah, that's I think the only solution.
I'm not picking on Ryan Braun with that particular statement as much as the whole landscape.
Yeah, I think that you suspend them for however long you can suspend them, but to me, you take them back to when they were rookies. Okay, you're starting all over. You're going to make $400,000. You have a guy that signed a long-term deal. They're not going to risk it.
Molina strikes out. Prior to the game tonight, we canvassed the opinion of Brewers fans about Braun outside the ballpark.
Well, I was talking to my neighbor across the street today, and he told me that his son doesn't even care to see baseball anymore because he feels that Ryan Braun lied to him.
I kind of wonder why it seems like he got more vilified than other people have done the exact same thing.
It'd be nice if he would talk a little bit more about what happened, but I don't require it.
I think Ryan Braun should go visit some schools and talk to the kids and explain that he's sorry for what he did.
If he stays clean, for the rest of his career, he plays well, hopefully that, it'll go away a little bit.
I'm super excited for next season.
This isn't New York. This is this Midwest, and you would think much more forgiving, although traditionally fans in their own town have supported their own players even after PED suspensions, regardless.
I think New York to California, you can forgive a guy for making a bad choice. It's hard to forgive a guy for basically coming out in spring training and lying to everyone. And not only with his lie, but, basically ruining a guy's life, the collector,
Yep.
That guy's life has got to be a living you-know-what. And so, I think fans can forgive look at Jason Giambi, Andy Pettit. Those guys have been forgiven because they've come out and said, yes, I did it, and they were honest about it. But, I think people don't want to be lied to. If you did it, say, yes, I did it. If you got caught, admit it, and people will forgive you.
And they need the production on the field. Whatever the production is going to be, they desperately need it if they're going to be a relevant ball club. Let's go down to Buster.
Well, the big question about the Brewers offseason, also beyond the player personnel moves, how will what happened in 2013 with Ryan Braun affect their ticket sales? That first gentleman who spoke, Wes Aldridge, is a season ticket holder who spoke with Ryan Braun. He got a phone call from Ryan Braun directly, and he said at the end of our conversation, I don't know if I'm going to renew my season tickets. He said, look, that money that I spent on season tickets, that's like my vacation.
There's Descalso. So a lot to unfold, perhaps in the offseason or definitely into next season for Ryan Braun and the Milwaukee Brewers. We've seen how Alex Rodriguez has gone through it. We've seen the treatment that he's gotten. Every case is a little bit different, but A-Rod and Braun definitely getting more of the scrutiny because of who they are, the accomplishments and the numbers they've put up.
Yeah, but they're not the only ones. And like I said, Andy Pettit, Jason Giambi. I mean, those guys have accomplished a lot in this game. David Ortiz. David, you know, was one of the secret tests that no one's supposed to know, but his name came out in that. You know, he's still Big Papi. No one, you know, when he comes up to bat in New York, no one yells steroid, steroid like they do with A-Rod. It's just, you know, I guess.
It's hard to pin your finger on it.
Well,
you know,
it is. It's honesty.
Yep.
You know, if you're not going to lie about it and, you know, throw people under the bus about it, then, you know, people
will forgive.
People will forgive.
More forgiveness. Yep.
Elvis has left the building.
Oh,
he's here. He's here.
Barely.
Not much. I hope she's driving home.
Full count on Descalso.
Interesting thing is how the different players in the locker rooms treat their teammates as they come back. You know, that's the thing, and the guys really have been offensive to them. Not only removing the money from the salary structure. There's less for them to put this club together in future years if Ryan Braun doesn't produce at those levels.
On comes Gomez to make the catch, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3 in the top of the 8th. Cardinals trailing the Milwaukee Brewers 6-3. Got a doubleheader for you Wednesday night here on ESPN. It begins with the Tampa Bay Rays, who are looking to solidify their hold on a wild card spot in the American League. They're in the Bronx to take on the Yankees at 7 Eastern. Then at 10 Eastern, it's the Dodgers and the Giants, brought to you by T-Mobile. Both games on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. So right now, Tampa Bay and Cleveland are holding down the 2 wild card spots. Texas is a game and a half, suffered another crushing defeat, a walk-off grand slam, and what had been a scoreless game in the bottom of the 10th against Kansas City today. So the Rangers, who still play the Astros and Angels, they've got 7 games left. They don't have an off day. And they're trying to chase down either the Rays or the Indians. The Orioles, Royals, and Yankees have fallen further back and really appear to have very little chance at this point. Here is former Milwaukee closer John Axford. Big swing and a miss by Carlos Gomez. For Axford, he had a couple of great years as the closer of the Brewers, but then struggled at times. Real roller coaster up and down the last couple of years. I mean, that's a big time season. And he was incredibly popular. But when he started to struggle, the fans turned on him here. Fly ball to center for out number 1. But guys, the Cardinals think you can still see 97 miles an hour. They think they got a live arm and that they've got somebody they can work with.
They like a lot what they see, and they've worked with him with some philosophy stuff as far as pitching, what they saw and when they scouted him, and they're starting to make a few adjustments. I'll tell you what, he could be a closer in auditioning right here.
And the thing is, you go to a team in your division, like he did, and you know, when you see a guy that much in your own division, you pick things up on him. He's telegraphing, he might be doing something on his breaking ball different than he does on his fastball, and you know, it gets around the league. And now the Cardinals, you know, according to sources, they've kind of straightened that out on him.
Logan Schaefer with a fly ball, 2 down. And the Cardinals, with the issues that Edward Mojica is having right now as the closer, he has talked of fatigue and he has scuffled the last several weeks. Right now, according to the Cardinals, it's a fluid situation at the end of the bullpen, and if they have a save situation, Axford would be considered. Trevor Rosenthal would be considered. Kevin Segrist would be considered. Maybe even Carlos Martinez, who picked up a save on Friday night. But again, so unusual for a team of this caliber to be thinking about the 9th inning in late September.
But then turn the page from that, and it's so unusual for them to have 4 guys that could do the job. That are power arms that are each in their own right could do it.
That, you know, Mojica's the slow tosser down there in the bullpen. I mean, you look at Segrist, Rosenthal, Axford, all of them throw in the mid to high 90s. Segrist, the lefty, which is, you know, throwing that hard that late in the game is, you know, is a weapon in itself.
And this is the big topic of conversation in St. Louis about the Cardinals is what are they going to do in the 9th inning?
Well, but it's going to be matchup probably because, you know, you go Andre Ethier or Carl Crawford there in L.A. and it's Segrist, you know, Rosenthal if you're going to get Puig or Kemp or somebody like that when they get to the playoffs. So And then maybe this guy on the mound after that last pitch. That thing was electric as it darted down.
A lot of options out of that bullpen for the Cardinals. Mojica, an all-star this year, was great through much of the season, really until about midway through August. Big breaking ball, 2-2.
And if you haven't seen Carlos Martinez pitch, I mean, that's lightning coming out of that arm.
Just watch the body because you're not going to see the ball.
And there's not much body there. He's not a big guy at all. It was funny because I was sitting in the dugout with Jose Akendo before batting practice, and players were starting to come out to stretch. Every pitcher that walked by, yeah, he throws 98. Yeah, he's 97. See that little guy? Yeah, he throws 96. I'm like, oh my God.
Bianchi with a base hit. Meanwhile, John Axford's successor as closer of the Milwaukee Brewers, Jim Henderson, is up in the pen in anticipation of a save situation in the ninth.
I think the thing that makes Axford so good to have on a team is you never heard publicly him complain when they took him out of the closer role. Never heard one word out of him, you know, this is ridiculous. So I blow a couple saves they're going to take. Never. He kept his mouth shut and did what they asked him to do.
Some people might not recognize him. He's a little more clean shaven here as a Cardinal. Got a little longer and scruffier when he was here with Milwaukee.
He used to have that Civil War thing going.
Yeah. Big long stuff.
Fit right in Boston, wouldn't he?
That's about what I was going to say.
Upstairs, a ball and a strike. Looking ahead to the ninth inning for St. Louis, Shane Robinson, the number 8 hitter, then the pitcher spot, and then back to the top of the order for Matt Carpenter. Carpenter's homered in this game. He's also walked twice and struck out. Foul down the left field line and back out of play.
You know, in some ways tonight just doesn't seem like a real Cardinal game. The first time all year they've gone with 3 errors. You know, the base running hasn't been the best. Joe Kelly on the mound was an observer when the ball slid behind Molina, who should have caught a ball coming in from the outfield, advanced some runners, and they seem like they do have a little bit of a hangover from clinching a berth today. Just not the same edge. You know, I'm not sure it's a coincidence, but they're very disciplined and very locked in. But I'm sure that they'll try and turn the page on this one real quick.
There's Chris Carpenter, who's a guy who makes sure everybody does not get too comfortable in their surroundings. Axford strikes out a Maldonado to end the inning, and we're going to the ninth here in Milwaukee with the Brewers up by 3. Cardinals trailing the Brewers 6-3, a St. Louis loss, and they were to be 2 games ahead of both Pittsburgh and Cincinnati in the congested National League Central Division race. Here is the closer for the Milwaukee Brewers, Jim Henderson. 2.53 ERA. He's got 25 saves on the season. And some great numbers, as you can see, 69 strikeouts in 57 innings, and he's only given up 39 hits in those 57 innings. Coming up next on SportsCenter, the Yankees honor Mariano Rivera, but see their slim playoff hopes fade even more. A tough day here in this state as Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers lose a big late lead against the Bengals. And the Steelers are desperate to avoid an 0-3 start as they face the Bears. Live post-game reaction. Yuniesky Betancourt is now in the game at first base. Shane Robinson leads it off. Woo, up and in, ball one. And Ron Chambers is on deck as a pinch hitter in the pitcher spot. So it'll be Robinson, Chambers, and then back to the top of the order. And a little high, ball two. Ramirez in even with a bag at third. The rest of the infielders backed up. Outfielders are playing Robinson to hit the ball the other way. There's a strike.
He was definitely taken there, down by 3.
Taken there because the first two, one was at his noggin, the other one was at his chest.
Taken here again, John.
I would think out of
strategy,
defensive indifference.
Full count.
Now, this is when you go into swing mode. He throws another one inside and it hits you. Got to think of these things.
Did these thoughts start creeping in when you retired or while you were playing?
Oh, when I got older and I couldn't see that well anymore.
Matt Carpenter will bat third this inning. 3-run deficit for the Cardinals here in the ninth. And the chopper back towards the mound. Henderson in time to get him one down. Norichka Aoki reaching base all 4 times tonight. A single, a double, a couple of walks, scored twice, drove in 1, and he is tonight's Chevrolet player of the game. Here's Chambers. And Henderson starts another batter with ball 1. There's Chris Carpenter on the left, Adam Wainwright on the right. Carpenter out, but still a very prominent force on this St. Louis pitching staff. 2 great examples and 2 great leaders on the staff from those 2 guys.
They have passed down some fine pitching traditions and strategy, watching each other's side works, keeping the ball down from Dave Duncan and concentrating on getting ground balls with the fastball away. And the work ethic and the toughness.
In the Cardinal way. Throw strikes, change speeds.
With Chris Carpenter still there, even though he's out with the young staff, I think of what he's imparting, not only the knowledge, but the energy Mike Matheny tells us about how verbal a leader he is. And it's hard to do when you are broken, when you are hurt, to still be the same guy with the same toughness and think you have the same impact. But Chris Carpenter, Mike Matheny tells us, has taken it up a notch.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. take batting practice at around 4:30, 5 o'clock local time, and now here 5 hours later, you come out and swing a bat against a guy throwing 96. Not having done much of anything except a little maybe work off the tee in between. Tough job pinching. Got him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about.
If your pinch hitters hit 250, they're doing well.
Doing really well. But you kind of know, depending on the situation. Like, I know when I wasn't playing, I was going to pinch hit if the game was going to be decided by me, to tie the game, or if we had a couple guys on, maybe to get us within one or something like that. So I knew I would not have hit, and it's harder to hit when you're down 3.
Last home game of the season here in Milwaukee. Disappointing year, but the fans in attendance here tonight, 27,000 of them on their feet, trying to urge on the Brewers.
Beautiful example right there on that foul ball. Matt Carpenter, after he fouled it off, he was still working on his swing before he got back in the box. Down by 3, they clinched a berth, and he's grinding the at-bat out. So Matheny told us too, he never takes an at-bat off.
Down the left field line and out of play. A ball and 2 strikes on Carpenter. Cardinals have the Nationals and the Cubs this week to wrap up the regular season. Both of those series at home. A loss tonight. They'll be 2 up on Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. All of them with 6 to play. SportsCenter is next here on ESPN. For Carpenter. Now 2 for 3 on base 4 times tonight.
He told me before the game that he doesn't think of individual things. When you look at that pitch, it's down, running down on him, and he just goes down and gets it. Line drives that ball over the second base. Hits a line drive over the second baseman's head. And that's the thing. That is short, compact. I'm not going to try to hit the ball of the ballpark. I can't hit a 3-run homer to tie the game. I need to get on base, and that's a swing of a get on base swing. But he told me, he said 200 hits would be pretty cool to get.
He's at 196 right now as John Jay takes a strike. Betancourt playing behind Carpenter at first. On the appeal, he didn't go. Doubleheader Wednesday for you. Rays and Yankees at 7, Dodgers and Giants at 10. 1 week left in the regular season at the conclusion of this game tonight. And a pop-up. And it drops. And the tying run is going to come to the plate. And it's Carlos Beltran.
Uh-oh. Things got interesting, Dan.
Anderson and Maldonado talking it over. 2 outs, nobody on in the 9th inning. A base hit for Carpenter, a bloop single for Jay, and now one of the most dangerous hitters the Cardinals have, although he has not had any success in his career against Henderson.
Just takes one to turn that around.
Last home game, and a little more pressure for Jim Henderson. Axford in the opposing dugout. It was his job. He took it over, and he doesn't want to blow a save on the night he's going against the old closer.
Strike 2.
It's amazing how the tying run comes to plate, and all of a sudden Henderson starts breaking out the breaking ball on these hitters on Beltran.
And a base hit into center. Carpenter will score. To second goes Jay. It's 6-4. And now Matt Adams. Remember that home run we showed you earlier tonight on Friday? The one he hit on Friday? That was off Henderson. He's faced him twice. He's homered off him twice.
He's going to get a breaking ball first pitch. Now, if it's a hanger, he's really got to let it go. If it's a good one, take it. Hanger. Let it rip.
Fastball inside, ball 1. Let's go back to Friday. Second deck and right on a fastball. Takes it high.
Now you're sitting dead red, right, Crucky? Even though that's what you hit your home run on? 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, you look at who's hitting behind him. Yadier Molina's hitting .315 coming into this game. So, yeah, you don't want to put Beltran on second base where a single can tie the game or put him ahead.
Two and one.
He must. Maybe he's sitting breaking ball. I don't know though. 2-0. I can't risk it. I can't risk letting that go. Wow. That looked like a pitch he hit the homer on the other night.
They're not on the same page here. I think that's fastball in. Fastball down the middle.
You see how deep the outfielders are playing. Aoki's almost on the warning track.
Tying run at first, go ahead run at the plate. Cardinals down to their final strike. And he got him to end the ball game. So the home part of the season comes to an end for the Brewers. They get the win over the Cardinals 6-4. The loss for St. Louis now means that they are 2 games ahead of both the Pirates and Reds with a week to go in the season. What a race to the finish it's going to be as the hunt for October continues. You look at the National League Central, 3 teams. Cardinals have clinched a playoff spot. The other 2 are close, but so much on the line still as they all battle for the division championship. This is our final Sunday night telecast of the season. We want to thank the outstanding crew that we've worked with all season long and for doing so much to bring you all the great pictures and sounds of baseball all season long. We'll see you again with a doubleheader Wednesday, the Rays and Yankees, and then the Dodgers and the Giants. The final score from Miller Park, the Brewers 6 and the Cardinals 4. Major League Baseball's hunt for October, as mentioned, continues on Wednesday night. Rays and Yankees, Dodgers and Giants. SportsCenter is next here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser, John Kruk, Buster Olney, and our great crew, I'm Dan Shulman saying thanks for watching and so long from Milwaukee.